Have you ever had the feeling that the universe was trying to tell you something? A thought that emerges from the depths of your mind, seemingly unprompted, and almost immediately afterwards, something unfolds that seems to validate that very thought. An improbable encounter, a precisely timed word that resonates deeply, a coincidence so uncanny that it compels you to pause and wonder. This cannot be mere happenstance. Perhaps you've felt a sudden shiver, a momentary internal stillness, as if an unseen presence were observing you, as if reality itself had momentarily shifted to deliver a personalized message. This isn't a sign of losing your grip. It has a name. Carl Jung, the pioneering psychiatrist, termed it synchronicity. And let's be clear, this isn't some frivolous form of superstition or superficial spirituality. Jung was a rigorous scientist of the soul, a profound explorer of the human psyche. He posited that at certain crucial junctures, the inner world of the mind and the outer world of events align with such precision, with such potent symbolism, that these alignments cannot be adequately explained by the conventional tools of logic or statistical probability. In these extraordinary instances, something far deeper is at work. The unconscious is striving to surface, seeking to offer guidance, to nudge you towards a more authentic path. And should you choose to ignore this subtle prompting, the call will inevitably return, amplified, more insistent, and ultimately more difficult to dismiss. What you are experiencing may not be a random twist of fate. It could be a vital message originating from your psyche, a reflection of your underlying pain, your persistent confusion, or the profound transition you are currently undergoing. Synchronicity often manifests when you are on the cusp of a significant breakthrough, when you feel utterly lost, or when you are about to undergo a fundamental shift in your being. And I realize that navigating these experiences isn't typically part of our formal education. Most people, even those closest to you, may dismiss it as nonsense, chalking it up to paranoia or simple coincidence. But deep within, you sense otherwise. You intuit that there is something substantial there, that it has touched a part of you that defies easy explanation, yet remains unforgettable. This exploration is the conversation tailored for you, for those grappling with these experiences and seeking understanding. For those who are perceiving patterns that others fail to recognize, navigating moments that elude comprehension. For those who sense that something profound is yearning to emerge from the shadowy depths of their lives. In this conversation, I aim to offer a listening ear, free from judgment, and to accompany you on this journey through the uncharted territory where reason and mystery converge. Because perhaps you aren't losing your mind. Perhaps, for the very first time, you are truly awakening. Now I ask you, are you prepared to listen to what your soul is attempting to communicate? Carl Jung emphatically rejected the notion of mere chance. He viewed existence as infinitely richer than a haphazard sequence of disconnected events. He saw life as an intricate, vibrant tapestry woven from symbols, archetypes, and profound patterns that interconnect the external world with the depths of the human psyche. Synchronicity represents the precise point of intersection between these two realms. But what, in essence, is synchronicity? Jung defined it as the simultaneous occurrence of two or more events that lack a direct causal relationship, meaning that one does not directly cause the other, yet share a significant symbolic meaning for the individual experiencing them. In simpler terms, they are meaningful coincidences. Crucially, the significance resides not within the event itself, but within the psychological impact it has on you. Consider the scenario of intensely thinking about someone you haven't been in contact with for years, only to receive a message from that person mere moments later. Or perhaps you dream of a peculiar symbol, a scarlet hummingbird, for instance, and the following day, you unexpectedly encounter that same symbol emblazoned on a poster that inexplicably captures your attention. Mainstream science would likely attribute this to chance. Jung, however, would urge you to pay close attention. He saw these moments as windows, fleeting tears in the fabric of objective reality, allowing something far deeper and more meaningful to manifest. Synchronicity emerges when the unconscious mind discovers a pathway to express itself within the external world. It is as if reality is actively shaping itself to unveil something that your conscious reason cannot fully grasp. Yet your soul instantly recognizes as profoundly significant. And do not assume that Jung arrived at this groundbreaking concept arbitrarily. He was a dedicated scholar of the unconscious, a tireless explorer of the labyrinthine depths of the human soul. After dedicating years to clinical analysis, in-depth research into symbolism, alchemy, mythology, and even theoretical physics, he encountered phenomena that defied explanation within the framework of Cartesian logic, patients recounting prophetic dreams, symbolic visions that precisely mirrored real-world events, and uncanny repetitions of names, numbers, and encounters. Mere chance proved insufficient to account for these occurrences. Statistical probabilities fell short. The only tenable explanation, according to Jung, was the existence of a hidden principle of order, a unifying force he termed synchronicity. But a word of caution: synchronicity is not some superficial form of magic. It's not about passively requesting something from the universe and expecting it to materialize effortlessly. It is far more nuanced, more enigmatic, and ultimately more demanding. It reveals itself to those who possess the willingness to heed the subtle whispers of the soul, even when those messages are unsettling or uncomfortable. And herein lies the core principle. Synchronicity holds profound significance only for those who directly experience it. To an outside observer, it may appear trivial, even absurd. Yet for those who are touched by it, it is virtually impossible to ignore the powerful sensation that something deeply meaningful has just transpired. If you've ever undergone this, you inherently understand what I'm describing. And you might be asking yourself, why do these extraordinary experiences tend to occur during specific periods in life? Why do they seem to surface precisely when we are grappling with a crisis, undergoing a transition, or facing momentous decisions? In the subsequent segment, we will explore this question in depth, because it's possible that these seemingly random accidents are not accidents at all, but rather carefully crafted answers. If this is resonating with you, consider joining this journey of exploration by subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your valuable support. There are inevitable moments in life when everything appears to disintegrate. Cherished relationships crumble, meticulously crafted plans fail to materialize, and the very meaning of existence seems to evaporate. And it is precisely within these moments of profound vulnerability, when we feel lost, with our minds exhausted and our hearts exposed, that synchronicity often manifests. But the critical question is, why? Carl Jung believed that when the rigid structure of rational consciousness weakens, whether due to a traumatic experience, an existential crisis, overwhelming grief, profound loneliness, or a significant internal transformation, the unconscious begins to assert itself, to emerge into conscious awareness. And it doesn't communicate through the medium of words. Instead, it expresses itself through symbols, potent images, recurring repetitions, and meaningful patterns. And at times, it even appears to communicate through the very fabric of reality itself. Have you ever pondered why certain encounters seem to occur at precisely the opportune moment? As if that particular person, that specific phrase, or that particular place materialized as a tangible response to something you didn't even consciously realize you were searching for. Jung maintained that this is not mere coincidence. It is, in essence, a dialogue between your soul and the world around you. Synchronicity serves as that pivotal point of contact, the moment when the invisible realm manifests within the visible one. The universe doesn't respond with neat, logical explanations. Instead, it answers with mirrors. And these mirrors appear in the most unexpected of places. In a song that begins playing seemingly out of nowhere, articulating precisely what you needed to hear at that instant. In a single word that leaps off the page of a book, resonating with unexpected force. In a symbol that repeats itself until you can no longer ignore its presence. These are transformative experiences that challenge the supremacy of reason and call into question the pervasive notion that we inhabit a purely mechanical and indifferent universe. But proceed with caution. Synchronicity is not about indiscriminately perceiving signs in every trivial event. It is not a pathway to delusion or a justification for spiritual paranoia. It is fundamentally about meaning, and meaning is something that originates from within you, not from external sources. It is about the lasting impact that the event has on your psyche. It is about what it awakens within you. If something has profoundly touched you, if it has caused you to pause, to reflect, to alter your course, or to sense a truth that you couldn't previously articulate, then it transcends mere coincidence. It is a sign. These potent signs tend to appear when there is an unconscious yearning for transformation, when the soul is attempting to guide conscious awareness toward a new and more authentic path. However, the rational mind, clinging to its familiar patterns, often resists this change. In response, the unconscious manifests itself externally, in events, in people, in symbols, as a subtle yet persistent way of nudging you in the direction you're meant to go. That is precisely why so many individuals report experiencing synchronistic events during periods of intense doubt, profound loss, or deep-seated confusion. In these vulnerable moments, the rational mind no longer possesses all the answers. It is the ideal environment for the unconscious to assume a more dominant role, to take the lead in guiding your journey. But what exactly is this unconscious, and why does it manifest in such symbolic and enigmatic ways, instead of simply communicating directly and unambiguously? The answer lies buried deep within the intricacies of the human psyche, and to truly understand it, we must venture deeper into its hidden realms. In the next section, we will delve into understanding who this other self residing within you truly is, this concealed aspect that observes, feels, and actively creates even when you believe you are firmly in control. Because perhaps synchronicity is simply the most visible manifestation of something far more profound, the persistent endeavor of your unconscious mind to finally be acknowledged, to finally be heard. You are not in control. This statement represents one of the most challenging truths to accept, and simultaneously, one of the most liberating realizations to embrace once fully understood. The vast majority of what you experience, your feelings, your thoughts, your desires, and even your fears, does not originate from your conscious will. Instead, it emanates from a deeper, more ancient, and more subtle source, the unconscious mind. And when you persistently choose to disregard its subtle promptings, it invariably seeks out alternative means to capture your attention, sometimes through the vivid language of dreams, and other times through the visceral experience of pain. But there are rare moments when it communicates directly with the external world, and this phenomenon is what we call synchronicity. Carl Jung understood the unconscious not merely as a passive repository of forgotten memories, but as a dynamic, creative, and richly symbolic system, a core of autonomous intelligence residing within you, carrying not only the imprints of your past wounds and traumas, but also the seeds of your unique vocation, your unrealized potentials, and the pathways to your ultimate transformation. And when your external life begins to stray from the course that this deeper aspect of yourself is yearning to reveal, potent signs begin to emerge, subtle yet significant disruptions in reality that compel you to stop, to observe, and to question the very foundations of your existence. You might instinctively attempt to dismiss these signs, to rationalize them away, or to convince yourself that they are nothing more than coincidences. But the nagging sense of unease persists. The feeling that there is something more at play refuses to dissipate. It's akin to the unconscious mind gently nudging you, like an internal therapist discreetly knocking on the door of your consciousness, attempting to convey the message. You're not listening to the subtle whispers, so now I'm going to show you through tangible and undeniable events. And indeed, it does show you. It reveals itself in the form of unexpected encounters that irrevocably alter the trajectory of your life. It manifests in repetitions that defy the conventional laws of logic. It appears in the form of potent symbols that emerge at the most critical junctures. A butterfly during a period of mourning, a recurring number that appears every time you contemplate a life-altering decision, an image that persistently haunts your dreams and subsequently materializes in your waking reality. These profound manifestations do not adhere to the rigid logic of the intellect. Instead, they follow the more intuitive logic of the soul. They are fundamentally symbolic expressions and therefore necessitate a heightened degree of sensitivity in order to be properly understood. The rational mind craves direct answers, demands concrete proof, and seeks unwavering control. The unconscious, however, offers something far richer: metaphors, myths, and subtle signs. But why doesn't it simply communicate directly and unambiguously? Because what needs to be understood at the deepest levels of your being cannot be conveyed through simple, linear statements. It must be actively lived, deeply felt, and fully integrated into the totality of your experience. The unconscious doesn't seek to provide you with a readily packaged answer. Its ultimate goal is to transform you from the inside out. And synchronicity serves as a compelling invitation to embark on that transformative journey. Perhaps you are currently experiencing this very moment right now. Perhaps you are beginning to perceive patterns, to sense subtle omens, and to question the profound coincidences that have recently shaken you to your core. This is not a sign of weakness. It is, in fact, a testament to your inherent openness. It signifies that something within you is poised to emerge, to break free from its constraints and to fully express itself. But to truly grasp the depth of this experience, we must transcend the limitations of the individual perspective, because Jung discovered that the unconscious mind is not solely a personal construct. It also possesses a deeper layer, a vast symbolic ocean that connects all of humanity. It is within this collective realm that true synchronicity is born. In the subsequent segment, we will venture into this enigmatic territory that Jung famously termed the collective unconscious, and we will uncover how universal symbols, archetypes, and even the ancient art of alchemy exert a profound influence on your life in ways you may have never previously imagined. The human mind is not merely an isolated entity. Within you resides a layer that extends far beyond the realm of your individual thoughts, predates your earliest memories, and encompasses a scope far exceeding your personal experiences. Jung designated this layer as the collective unconscious, a shared psychic dimension that unites all of humanity. Within this realm, universal symbols, ancestral myths, and fundamental archetypes reside, subtly shaping your perception of reality without your conscious awareness. It is from this profound source that synchronicity emerges with its greatest force. When a symbol originating from the collective unconscious manifests within your daily life, coinciding with an internal period of crisis, intense searching, or profound transformation, the resulting impact can be overwhelmingly powerful. You experience a profound sense of connection to something far grander than yourself, a feeling that an invisible order is guiding your steps along what once seemed to be a random and chaotic path. Jung dedicated extensive research to this phenomenon. He came to realize that during moments of intense inner turmoil, the psyche instinctively begins to draw upon archetypal images, universal symbols present across all cultures throughout history. The serpent, the heroic figure, the wise elder, the nurturing mother, the shadow self, and the theme of rebirth. These archetypal symbols are not mere cultural inventions. They are spontaneous manifestations of the deep-seated structure of the human mind. And it was within the ancient discipline of alchemy that Jung discovered the most accurate reflection of the intricate process of psychic transformation. The alchemists of old spoke of transmuting base metals such as lead into precious gold, but Jung understood that this seemingly literal endeavor was in fact a powerful metaphor for a psychological process. Lead, in this context, represents inner chaos, profound confusion, and the unintegrated aspects of the psyche. Gold, on the other hand, symbolizes full conscious awareness, the realization of the authentic self. Synchronicity, in this context, functions as a catalyst, accelerating the transformative process. It tends to manifest when you are immersed in the nigredo, the dark and perplexing phase in which everything appears to be disintegrating. It is during this critical stage that potent symbols begin to emerge, acting as guiding stars in the night sky of the psyche, a vivid and unforgettable dream, an animal unexpectedly crossing your path, a seemingly random book falling from a shelf, or a numerical sequence that persistently reappears. All of these can serve as symbolic keys, offering valuable clues along your path. These profound manifestations are not magical in the conventional sense. They are inherently psychic in nature. They are symbolic expressions of your own internal transformation. And when you consciously align yourself with these powerful symbols, something fundamentally shifts within you. You begin to perceive meaning where previously there was only chaos. You start to experience a sense of direction where there was previously only disorientation. But this transformative process requires surrender, a willingness to relinquish control and to embrace the unknown. It also demands courage, the fortitude to look inward, to confront the hidden aspects of yourself. Symbols do not offer comfort, they offer truth. And truth, more often than not, can be profoundly uncomfortable. And now we arrive at the most crucial aspect, understanding the inherent meaning of these signs, discerning a genuine synchronicity from a mere random occurrence, interpreting these symbols without succumbing to the allure of fantasy, and discerning when the unconscious mind is attempting to communicate something vital versus simply experiencing the incessant noise of an anxious mind. In the subsequent segment, we will delve into this critical process. You will acquire the skills to recognize and interpret synchronicities with clarity and precision, utilizing Jung's own teachings as a guide. Because interpreting the appropriate symbol at the opportune moment has the potential to irrevocably alter the course of your life. Recognizing a sign is one matter. Comprehending its profound significance is something entirely different. How often have you experienced a peculiar sensation in response to a coincidence, yet remained unsure of what to do with it? The mind races, the heart palpitates. You instinctively sense that there is something important present, yet clarity remains elusive. And it is precisely at this juncture that most individuals become disoriented, caught between the initial symbolic experience and the deeper understanding that awaits. Carl Jung taught us that synchronicity cannot be deciphered using conventional logic. It demands a new mode of perception, symbolic, intuitive, and deeply introspective. For Jung, interpreting a synchronistic event is akin to interpreting a dream. The objective details of what occurred are less important than the subjective effect it had on you, the indelible impact it left upon your psyche. The symbol resonates with the soul because it unveils something that conscious awareness has yet to perceive. The initial step is to observe without judgment. When something unusual or significant occurs, resist the urge to immediately seek explanations. Simply make a mental note, write it down in a journal, and allow yourself time for reflection. Ask yourself questions such as, what does this event remind me of? What emotions arose within me at that precise moment? Is there a recurring pattern that I am beginning to discern? The unconscious mind communicates through associations, and each symbol possesses a multitude of potential meanings. The second step involves contextualization. What phase of life are you currently navigating? Are you grappling with an inner conflict, facing a difficult decision, undergoing a process of mourning, experiencing a profound shift, or embarking on a journey of awakening? Synchronicity almost invariably manifests during moments of psychic transition, when the old ways of being no longer serve your highest good, yet the new and emergent self has not fully crystallized. It is within this symbolic space that the unconscious mind expresses itself most vividly. The third step is to explore connections to archetypes. For instance, if you begin to repeatedly encounter images of snakes, avoid interpreting them solely in literal terms. The snake, according to Jung, represents a symbol of renewal, transformation, and the cyclical nature of death and rebirth. It embodies the potent energy of libido, the potential for healing, the presence of hidden danger, and the acquisition of profound wisdom. A symbol encompasses multiple layers of meaning, and each of these layers may be communicating something specific to you at that particular juncture in your life. But proceed with caution. Interpreting symbols necessitates radical honesty with oneself. The unconscious mind is not concerned with flattering your ego. Its primary objective is your continued evolution. And for that very reason, the messages it conveys often manifest in the form of discomfort, confusion, or even fear, precisely because they are touching upon a wound that needs to be acknowledged and addressed. Many individuals attempt to utilize synchronicity as an escape valve, seeking validation for their pre-existing desires. This represents an ego trap. Authentic synchronicity does not confirm preconceived desires. It reveals deeper truths, and often these are truths that you have been consciously or unconsciously attempting to avoid. That is precisely why Jung consistently emphasized that without genuine self-knowledge, true interpretation is impossible. You must cultivate the willingness to examine yourself with courage, to confront your shadow self, and to accept that the symbol may be revealing something that you are not yet ready to see. But when you surrender to this transformative process, something profound and lasting shifts within you. Reality ceases to be a random and meaningless sequence of events and is instead transformed into a mirror reflecting the depths of your own being. Each occurrence becomes a message, each symbol a portal to a deeper understanding. Life begins to acquire depth, direction, and profound meaning. And at this point, a new and compelling question arises. If all of this is indeed occurring, if the signs are indeed appearing, and if the unconscious mind is indeed communicating, what ultimately is it seeking from you? In the next and final segment, we will bring this journey full circle, because perhaps synchronicity is not simply attempting to alert you to something important. Perhaps its ultimate aim is to transform you into the fullest expression of yourself. And what comes after this profound calling is the choice that ultimately defines your destiny. You didn't arrive here by chance. If this exploration has resonated with you on a deep level, if you have recognized experiences you have personally encountered, uncanny coincidences, significant encounters, persistent signs that seem to follow you, then you are likely already living your own unique journey of synchronicity. And this is not a minor or inconsequential event. It is a calling, a summons to a more authentic way of being. Carl Jung proposed that synchronicity is the means by which the unconscious mind propels you towards the path of individuation, the lifelong process of becoming who you are truly meant to be, the realization of your fullest potential. But this journey is rarely comfortable or easy. It inevitably requires you to break free from familiar patterns, to embrace doubt, and to relinquish easy certainties, pre-packaged answers, and predictable paths. Because what is ultimately at stake here is not simply understanding the world around you. It is, far more fundamentally, understanding yourself. Synchronicity typically manifests when you are on the precipice of an internal transition, when everything you have previously known begins to unravel and a new version of yourself begins to emerge, still invisible, still fragile, and still shrouded in fear. But if you choose to ignore this profound calling, it will invariably return, and it will return with greater force and intensity, Because life itself will not cease in its attempts to awaken you to your true potential. You can choose to retreat back into slumber, to pretend that it was all just a coincidence, to revert to your familiar routines, and to act as if you didn't see what you saw or feel what you felt. But deep down, you know that this strategy will not prove sustainable in the long run. The soul possesses an unwavering voice, and when it yearns to be heard, the entire universe conspires to make it so. Conversely, you can choose to accept the invitation, to enter the symbolic forest, to follow the subtle traces of the unconscious mind, to diligently observe the signs, and to carefully study the symbols that present themselves. Ask yourself, with brutal honesty, what aspects of myself am I consciously or unconsciously avoiding? What within me is yearning to be born, to be expressed? Which part of my existing identity is now ready to die, to be transformed? Because that is ultimately what synchronicity seeks, to transform you into the most authentic version of yourself. It doesn't appear to validate what you already know. It emerges to remind you of what you have forgotten, of what you have abandoned, and of what you now need to reclaim in order to live a life of greater purpose and fulfillment. Synchronicity is the moment when the universe whispers, "You are ready to step into the fullness of who you are." And now I ask you, are you ready to answer that call? If you have personally experienced synchronicity, an event that defies easy explanation yet irrevocably altered your perception of life, share your story in the comments below. Your experience may hold precisely the message that someone else needs to read right now. And if this exploration has touched you in any way, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. This is only the beginning of an ongoing journey of self-discovery and transformation. The next exploration will be equally important, delving into why this path has called to you. The journey that has begun here is far from over. So, in essence, what we've explored together is this. Life isn't just a series of random events. It's a rich tapestry interwoven with meaning, waiting for us to awaken and see the patterns. Synchronicity, those seemingly impossible coincidences, are actually signposts, gentle or sometimes not so gentle, nudges from your deeper self, guiding you towards a more authentic, fulfilling existence. It's an invitation to peel back the layers, embrace your potential, and finally become who you were always meant to be. These concepts provide valuable mental health tools as you navigate your own journey. I'm genuinely curious to hear your thoughts. Have you experienced synchronicity in your life? What questions does this exploration bring up for you? Leave a comment below. Let's start a conversation and learn from each other's journeys toward conscious living. And if this type of neuroscience content, focusing on self-understanding and personal growth, resonates with you, please consider subscribing. I'm diving deeper into related topics like developing a productivity mindset, the psychology of time perception, and exploring AI philosophy of self. And I wouldn't want you to miss out on future videos designed to help you unlock greater cognitive clarity and create a truly meaningful life.